All right, it is budget day. It's 18 minutes after 10 o'clock. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana will be tabling the 2026 national budget today. Various sectors have submitted their wish lists outlining what they want prioritized. South Africans are calling for a stronger commitment to stabilising public finances with a focus on education, healthcare, safety and security. Tumisang Ndlovu, live to us in Cape Town as we continue with our live rolling coverage, Tumisang, of what the Minister will put on the table at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And of course, the timing of the budget speech is also interesting. It's always followed by about 2 weeks after the State of the Nation address. So the Finance Minister essentially puts pen to paper to action what the President has in mind.
Absolutely, Michelle, and it's those key priority areas that you mentioned that came out of SONA, the issue around funding for education, healthcare, as well as key service delivery developments that are meant to be taken up and financed, of course, by the national budget. And expectations also include what then is going to be the fiscal stability standpoint and goals for national government under the government of national unity. And to speak to the political side of expectations, we are joined by the Mkhonto weSizwe Party Member of Parliament, that's Mabatho Mokoena Zondi. Thank you so much for your time, Mabatho.
Thank you for having me.
For the MKP, what stands out as chief when it comes to spending priorities, especially at a time where fiscal consolidation is still with us?
We are just basically worried. This budget is coming under a time where South Africans are at their most poorest right now, to be talking the truth. So we are looking for a budget that speaks to the people. We've been told that this budget would look at fiscal consolidation, will look at debt stabilization, will also look at market confidence. And to tell you the truth, a budget that looks at investor confidence over the real people who are living in this country is not a budget for people.
What would constitute a budget for the people? Because you make the two parallels around getting the sentiment that is required to foster investment, but at the same time, without the investment, then there is essentially no funding from outside of the fiscus to ensure that the ordinary service delivery deliverables are met.
Well, as the MK Party, we are looking for solutions that will decrease our debt. Currently, our debt is sitting at 78% of the GDP, and that is really not a welcome relief for anybody at home. People want more money in their pockets, so we want a budget that will look at having those solutions. Currently, about R1 of every R5 of the revenue collected is going to debt repayments. And we cannot be at that level right now. You are looking at municipalities that are collapsing. You are looking at the youth unemployment rate that's rising every single year. You are also looking at the fact that schools are not being built up or reconstructed. So we really want a budget that speaks to freedom, you know, the freedom of people. We're looking for a budget that's used as a weapon for transformation and economic freedom.
You mentioned putting money in the pockets of South Africans on the social grant side of the aspect.
Right.
What is the MKP looking for? We normally get marginal increases, but with the cash-strapped consumer that is always spoken about in South Africa and the rising cost of living, what are your expectations this time around?
We've seen an increase in the creeping in of taxation, and it's not very visible, so it's not your VAT. They will not put you up VAT, but what they will do is that they'll increase fuel, and they'll increase other commodities that really hit at the pockets of our households in our country. We really need a situation where the old age grant, for example, is increased a little bit, because if you look at it and you look at the cost of living in South Africa, it really does not make sense. We are just making people poorer as a result. So the budget is not again speaking to freedom and transformation.
I'm glad you raised the issue around taxation. Last year's budget saw many challenges because of the contentious value-added tax that was proposed to be hiked. This time around, we are unlikely to see that, as we have told, but at the same time, what would be wrong in terms of the finance minister where MKP is concerned, the one element that he should not touch?
as I said, the creeping taxation, those little hidden costs that the normal consumer doesn't see until they are at the end of a till and they are paying for goods and services and groceries, and they cost a little bit more. So that's where he shouldn't go. So we'll need to increase on the items that are taxed and make sure that they are less taxed. And where we can, they are tax-free. Because we, as I said, the people in South Africa are getting poorer, and all they want from a budget is a budget that will put more money, more revenue into their pockets so that they are able to sustain their families.
As a parting shot, is there a push from the Umkhonto we Sizwe party where tax-free items are basically accelerated to a point where there is comfortability? It's been a long-standing issue. However, the government has not really made a commitment to say this is the basket, and maybe over the years, with tangible evidence, grow the basket even further, given that a majority of South Africans is not necessarily within the working class.
As I said to you, the government of national unity is very good at PR. So they'll put a big PR stunt that we have not increased VAT. Yet at the same time, there's little crippling, there are little elements that cripple the consumer at home. So yes, we, as I said to you, as the MK party, we are the official opposition. So our job more than ever right now is to make sure that we play an oversight role on this budget process, to make sure that the people at home are protected always.
Thank you so much for your input. That is MKP MP Mabatu Mokoena Zondi talking to us about their expectations ahead of Budget 2026. Michelle.
Tumisang, thanks very much indeed. It's about, 3.5 hours to go until the minister takes to the podium.